I will take my time to explain to you how to draw this isometric drawing. Okay, so follow me, let's go. First thing you need to do whenever you are to draw an isometric drawing is to draw what we call a reference line. If I begin on the reference line, this horizontal line is refers to as the reference line. So you draw a reference line like this, you make it a construction line, So from that reference line, you pick a point. That point will represent this point because we are beginning our drawings from here. So suppose I draw a reference line like this. So this point I'm picking now, I can pick a point from this reference line. Let's pick a point and let's take the point to be this point. I hope you can see that. So this is the point we are picking now. So from this point now, represent this point. Two lines went out, one to the right and one to the left. But these two lines, they are 30 degrees to this horizontal line. So the two lines that will comes out, they will be 30 degrees to the horizontal line, which is this line. All right. The set square we'll be using is this set square that has a 30-degree angle. This is the 30-degree part, this is the 60-degree, and this is the 90-degree. We'll be using the 30-degree to draw out the lines because it is isometric. And isometric usually use 30-degree. So follow me, let's draw those lines out. All right. So position your ruler very well. You say that the distance from here to here is equal to the distance from here to here. You need to position your ruler very well. So draw out those two lines. And draw for the other ones, for the other side too. Okay, make it a construction line. Then we make the part that we need, we make it bold. Okay, all right. Then you could see from this point, these two lines, that the distance from here to here represent what is given to be 60. Why? Because from here to here is 40 and from here to here is 20, so that is 60. And likewise this, the distance from here to here is 60. So let's measure out 60 millimeters and make it bold. So let's do that. 60 millimeters. So you could see that this is our 60 millimeters there. Okay, so let's do for the other side. So this is the 60 millimeters there. Okay, so let's make it bold. So this is the 60 millimeters there, 60 millimeters there. So what do you notice? You notice that from this same end, which is this end, a certain line went up like this with a distance of 20 millimeters. Likewise this and this, all of them have all of them have the same dimensions. Okay, 20 millimeters. So let's position the ruler very well. Can you see the way I position my ruler such that the distance are the same? So let's draw out those three lines and measure what? 20 millimeters. Okay, so let's do that. So let's measure 20 millimeters because we're given that the dimensions are what? The dimension is given to be 20 millimeters. So let's measure out 20 millimeters. So here, 20 millimeters. You could see that these are 20 millimeters here. I hope you can see that. So let me erase these lines that is not needed. So let's measure out 20 millimeters there. So this is also our 20 millimeters. So what do you notice? You see that there's a line that join them together, that connects them together. So let's connect all of them together. So let's connect this and this together. Okay, I hope you can see that. So what do you notice? You notice that from ear to ear there's a certain line that was drawn inward, and from ear to ear both of them meet at the same point. Okay, so let's do that. The distance from ear to ear is 40 millimeters. That is from ear to ear. The distance from ear to ear is also 40 millimeters. So the remaining thickness there is 20 millimeters. The remaining thickness is 20 millimeters. So I will measure 40 here, draw a line like this, measure 40 here, draw a line like this. Both of them will meet at a point. So let's do that. So these are 40 millimeters there. Okay, so let's measure another 40 millimeters there. So this is another 40 millimeters. So from those 2 points, let's draw out the two lines. Let's make it a construction line first, and let's draw the other one. Make it a construction line first. Now, can we see where they meet? So let's do the line bold, the part that we need. Let's make it bold. Let me erase this. So let's make this one bold. All right. So what do you notice? So what do you notice? You see that from that same point, which is this point, a certain line went upward, and the distance from here to here is given to be 40 millimeters, as you can see here. The distance from the base to the top, the base, everything, the distance from the base to the top is 60 millimeters. So if from here to here is 20, which is from here to here, so the remaining one will be what? 40 millimeters. So I will draw a line upward and measure what? 40 millimeters. So let's do that. So let's measure the 40 millimeters. So from that point, from this point now, it represents this point. So you see that there are two lines, one line like this, the other one like this, and like this. So how are we going to do it? So from this same line, I will draw a line like this. I will draw a line like this. We still maintain the 30-degree. Okay. The distance from here to here is the same thing as distance from here to here, which is given to be 20 millimeters. And the distance from here to here is same thing as distance from here to here, which is also given to be 20 millimeters. So if from here to here is 20 millimeters, opposite side too will also be 20 millimeters. If from here to here is 20 millimeters, the opposite side will also be 20 millimeters. So from this same point, let's draw two lines out, one like this and the other one like this. So let's do that. Let's draw the other side. So we have to measure what? 20 millimeters. 20, you can see. So let's do that. Let's measure out the 20 millimeters that we need. So this is the 20 millimeters we need. Okay, you can see that. And also from ear to ear, let's measure out the 20 millimeters. This is the 20 millimeters there. Okay, so from these 2 points now, they represent these 2 points. So one will come like this, the other one will come like this. We also need to do what? We measure 20 millimeters, measure 20 millimeters. In fact, we don't need to measure it. They will meet at a point. The dimension will already be 20 millimeters. So let's try to draw out those two lines. Make it a construction line. Then you can see where they join together. This represent this point. This is the point. So I'll make it bold. I'll make it bold. So let's do that. So what do you notice from these 2 points? From this point now, which represent this point, and this point represent this point. You see that from this point, a certain line went to this point. So a certain line connected to this point, and a certain line connected to this point. That is from ear to ear, and also from ear to ear. So let's do that. So you also see that from this same point, which represent this point, a certain line connected to this point. It will connect to this point, and another line connected to this point, which is also from ear to ear. So let's do that. Now you can see that we are done with the drawings. We are done with the drawings. So what you could, another thing you can also do is to dimension your work. As you can see here, you dimension your work. And let me tell you, for your information, I have many other videos on isometric drawings, on orthographic, on other aspects of technical drawings. So do well to check around, and also do what? Share with your friends and like, comments. Okay, see you in my next class. Thank you.